Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. Welcome back to another video. 3 Points Perspective is back, baby, and it's a preview show like we've never ever seen. We are playing Liverpool in the Carabao Cup final. Chelsea are a team that really this should be a normality. This is a normality over in the grand scheme of things. If you look over the past 20 years, but if you look over the past 2 years, actually, it's a bit weird to be honest with you, being in a cup final. And I don't know about you guys, but a bit weird to go into a Carabao Cup final against such a good Liverpool side and still have hope. Listen, let's just get straight into it. The first topic is the Carabao Cup final. It's the biggest topic we can talk about. So much that goes into it. Nina, how are you feeling? And do you feel as confident as I am?
I'm so excited. That's all I know. I put the confidence aside for now because I'm just so excited to get down to Wembley and see Chelsea play in a cup final. Because if I had to look back a couple months ago when results started going south, we didn't really think this would be possible. Playing in a final, but we have gotten here somehow, one way or another. We have gotten to a final, and of course, I'm confident. There's always that little hope, isn't it? As a football fan, you go to every game with a tiny smidge of hope. If you're not the favourite, anything is always possible. And I think in a final, anything can happen. So that's what I'm holding on to. Like, I'm well aware that we're not the favourites. Even if Liverpool want to play the injury cards, I'm still not buying into it. They have enough quality and depth, and they've had enough time under their manager to be able to produce a performance even without a few first teamers that are key players out. And let me tell you that a lot of the key players that they think won't be out will be starting against us on Sunday. So it will be interesting. But yeah, I'm buzzing for it.
Yeah, Charlie, are you feeling similar to Nina?
Oh, mate, it's always exciting to be in a final, always exciting to go back to Wembley. Final, one-off game form, all right, it plays a little bit of a part, but it's not, it kind of almost goes out the window a little bit in these kind of one-off big occasion matches. I definitely feel more confident than I did a couple of weeks ago off the back of getting smashed at Anfield and then losing to Wolves. I think the last three results have shown that we have kind of got ourselves back together a little bit, and we can certainly feel more confident heading into this one. But look, we're still massive underdogs in this game. Let's be honest. Liverpool are still clear favourites there. This could be the first of 4 trophies this season for them.
And the media don't paint it that way. They almost make it seem like we should be winning this.
Well, yeah. Look, it's one of them, and it's. Klopp in the week saying that, Chelsea, favourites for the game. As managers do, they kind of just like try and take the pressure off the team. But look, it's always exciting to be back in the final, mate. But our Wembley record's awful. We've lost our last 5 finals there, and we've got 1 win in our last 7 finals. So that record needs to change. And yes, Sunday would be a good start for that. But yeah, it's certainly a closer game for me than it was looking like being a few weeks back.
I suppose when you look at our record at Wembley when it was first redone,
it was amazing.
We couldn't lose, and I remember going as a kid to the games. It was like, losing? What is that? And now the tables have turned slightly, but actually I think the fact that we've got a new squad in that sense, hopefully that means we've got new issues to deal with, and Wembley isn't one of them. So we can just, refresh, go into Wembley with a bit of confidence. And even though we are the underdogs, go in there with a bit of grit, knowing you've got nothing to lose. The fans are behind you. And ultimately, I think all Chelsea fans are in agreement. And I would struggle to understand this if we're not. Even if we lose the game, we want to go out there and see a team compete, fighting properly. If I see anything similar to what I saw against Man City, I'm going out there with my head held high. And ultimately, I know that Pochettino's done his job. He set us up the right way. The players have given their all. And then finals are finals. Anything can happen. It's just a game of moments. But, I do think that we can get something out of this game. But that there is a lot of luck as well on our side. I know you said that a lot of the players that are injured for Liverpool could potentially play. I'm not sure which players you're referring to, but as far as I'm aware, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, even if they do start, I think the fact that they've got Szoboszlai out, I think the fact they've got Jota out, I think that's massive in itself. You know, Trent Alexander, you know, and that just goes to show how good they are. They've got so many good players, and even with the 4-1 loss that we suffered, I mean, I was sat. Were you? No, you weren't at that game, were you, Charlie?
No, I couldn't make that one.
No. So I remember that game. I mean,
in.
it took them a lot of chances to get that first goal, and I think that, you know, players like Nunes, don't get me wrong, they're aggressive, they're a threat, but I don't see Nunes as the type of striker I fear in a final. You know, he strikes me as a player who's going to be missing so many chances. If you don't give him enough of them, then he won't be able to take it. Whereas Jota, who I'm so glad is out, I think he would be a serious problem for us. So, you know, I think as long as we can get that first goal like we did at the Etihad, we'll be all right. We just need to cling on for it, because I mean, we've seen it so many times in the league where we've started well, or we've been making good progress, and then Pochettino does something strange, or a few strange things, to be quite frank, and then you're sort of clinging on to the game. But as long as you can get that first goal, we've got enough quality to hold on defensively. We've got a decent midfield. When we start, the right attackers, they do actually track back and help out, which is exactly what you need in a final. So, I mean, we'll get straight into it, guys. I mean, let's look at the lineup from a Chelsea perspective. So, Nina, if I was to talk to you about the goalkeeping situation, it seems like a no-brainer. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. It's got to be Petrovic. If Pochettino is planning some strange business to start Sanchez in this final, I think already he's going to be absolutely, probably face of boos at Wembley before it even starts. Because, I mean, it's ridiculous. I know every manager likes to have that element of surprise and unpredictability in a final, but that's not it. It's not it. So it has to be Petrovic.
Yeah, I already said myself, and like I'm Poch in, people. I'm Poch in. I made a video yesterday saying even if we lose, he shouldn't be sacked, and we'll talk about that later. But if he starts Sanchez, I'm Poch out. That's how I feel.
Well, even if we win.
Well, obviously, if we win, it's a different story, Charlie. But I think that if Sanchez starts, he'll probably fuck something up. I mean, that's just the way I look at it. I mean, he's a great shot stopper.
But you know what, guys? He could, because what if it gets to a penalty shootout and he's thinking, right? Like, do you remember when, was it Tuchel that had that whole situation where obviously Mendy was in goal, but he had it in his head that if it got to a penalty shootout,
Kepa but that was more because Kepa was like seen as a penalty specialist.
But then Petrovic could be seen as a penalty specialist now.
He is a penalty specialist.
The shootout.
I don't know if it is. He saved one in the shootout in the quarter. I don't know if I'd classify him as a penalty specialist. I mean, I looked at his career close enough to see how many penalties he saved.
Pochettino could think that. So I don't know.
To be honest, though, I honestly think that I think there could have been. I was seeing things that potentially Sanchez could have started at City, but then obviously you missed out on the squad.
I think that was a mind game more than anything.
He missed out on the squad because of a personal problem. But yeah, I mean, for me, I always said that, you know, if to get Sanchez back in, like just play him against Leeds in the FA Cup, like it should have been Petrovic for these two games, City in the final, and then give Sanchez a go in the FA Cup. But you know, you don't mess around with a goalkeeping situation in a massive game when there's no need to. So yeah, it's I think unanimously. I mean, Chelsea fans probably disagree on a lot of things, but I think one thing we can all agree on is that the goalkeeper doesn't need to be switched for this final.
Yeah, 100%. I would even go as far to say don't start Sanchez in the cup against Leeds. I mean, Petrovic didn't get a chance, so I mean, I'm just using the same standard here. But yeah, I think that makes perfect sense. I think most people in the comments would agree. Guys, if you disagree, please let me know why. I'd be interested to know why. Defensively, guys, I mean, Nina, you said yesterday in your preview that you would start Thiago Silva. Me personally, I wouldn't. I think that if you've got a formula that works, it did work against Man City, irrespective of us conceding a goal. The way we started anyway. The game with Sassy and Colwell.
Apparently he's injured, so
he's not fit. He went off at Palace. He isn't trained all week. And there are reports saying that, you know, he could make the bench. I'd be astounded if he started. And to be honest, for us, I actually think it's in the nicest way possible. We all love Thiago Silva. in the nicest way possible, his inclusion in the team now is detrimental to how we perform. And it's probably actually better for him to not be available, so that decision just isn't there to have to be made. I think when he plays, we have to, the back line has to sit deeper. We can't push up as high. There's no pace in it. And then there's bigger gaps between the midfield and the defence. His football brain's still there, but he's 39. Of course, his legs are going to be going. He gets exploited, balls in behind, pace. And the balance in the midfield looks so much better because Enzo and Caicedo got less defensive ground to cover. And there's no surprise that our two best defensive performances away at two tough places, Villa Park and the Etihad, he's not been there. And I think that's quite telling. Look, of course, if he was fit, I wouldn't be, you wouldn't cry about him starting. But for me, he's getting to the point now where his inclusion in the side is detrimental to us. We just play better, and the back line can push up higher. And basically, his inclusion forces too many tactical adjustments. That's the reality now.
Maybe I need to let go of my sentiment then. But
guys,
guys,
as soon as you start picking players on sentiment, it's done.
I know. But look, though, I think Thiago Silva has been way, way, way over criticised. I understand what people say, but I think it's to a point where it's almost like bizarre because I'm
not criticising him. It's just fact.
No, I know, but a lot of people are now sort of completely against him, like ever starting another game. Which is
definitely not that. No, definitely not that.
Like, I'll tell you this now. I think Thiago Silva has still been one of our best defenders this season. Like, can you guys argue otherwise?
I think he has.
Because I think, I get the point, but I think the fact is it's so much easier to sort of look at Thiago Silva, and when he is having a bad game or he is slowing a game down, you put it down to age. But when the younger players are, you also put it down to age, but it's not so bad because they're young and inexperienced. But Thiago Silva, from what I've seen in the last few games that he did start, he was playing the ball out to our wingers. He was solidly kind of defending. He had good interceptions. He's, solid at the back. And I still think that he brings that. And I just think a lot of people now, because he is coming towards the end of his sort of best stability in football, 100%. I mean, he's 39. Like, who else is doing it at that age right now? And it's obviously easy. And it's absolutely justifiable to say that he's not the defender he once was. But I think people also forget that Thiago Silva was never meant to start as many games as he did this season. It was never in the plan for him. So I think if you take that into consideration, he's almost gone above and beyond with what he's performed with and what he's brought out, because Colwill played left back the majority of the season. Badiashile started off injured. Wesley Fofana has not played in a Chelsea kit this season. Disasi has been playing, but he's also been up and down, only has just started finding his feet. So Thiago Silva arguably has still been the most solid. So that's the only reason. And then the experience factor as well, because one thing I worry about with these group of players that are going to walk out from the tunnel at Wembley is, are they ready, or have they been prepared to play in a final? Because when I look at how many have played, I'd argue if there's about 3 in that squad, maybe 4 that have played in a massive final. And still, like, the Carabao Cup isn't that massive in terms of if you compare it to other trophies, but it's still obviously huge, and you're playing at a ground that is intimidating. It's massive. Liverpool have been there so many times, and more times than we have. So I just look at it from a perspective of having someone that knows what it takes in that back line. That's the only reason. But I do understand your points, and I probably wouldn't break up a partnership that was so solid against Manchester City. So yeah, completely hear your points, but I just guess from a just an experience standpoint, really.
Fair enough. I think it's pretty obvious with Gusto and Chilwell, they're going to be starting on the left and the right.
Yeah.
So we'll just go...
the team's obvious. Like, it should be the same team. I think the only decision to be made is, does Nkunku start this game?
Yeah.
That's the only decision to be made, whether it's Nkunku or Sterling. The rest of the team picks itself.
Oh, so I thought you were going to say Jackson.
No, Jackson's crucial to our chances. Like,
but if Nkunku starts, Jackson won't play.
No, he will. Like,
how? Who are you dropping?
Sterling.
No, absolutely not. He's going to drop Sterling for a final.
Well, what I'm saying is Cole Palmer's going to play and Nicholas Jackson will play. So the only place
Sterling
you've
will
got,
play too.
The only place you've got is Sterling or Nkunku, on that left side. That's the only decision to be made. And I don't think Nkunku will start this final because he's not started the last few. He hasn't started since the Wolves game. I'm not really sure why he's not starting. And yeah, I'd be surprised if he was in for this final. So I think the team will just be the same team that played against City. But yeah, the only decision to be made really is Nkunku or Sterling. But I don't actually know how big a decision that is for Poch because he's not been starting Nkunku in any of the last games. So
if you're playing Nkunku instead of Sterling, you want him on the left or do you want him up front?
Mate, you can be flexible. It can be fluid. That I'd personally probably leave him on the left, but not like out and out left, as in like a touchline winger. I'd have him like we might tuck him in as like an inside 10 or whatever. But he wouldn't be providing natural width as such. But for me, like I think Sterling will play. I'm not a massive Sterling fan, but he did well against he did well against City. In fairness to it, you have to give credit where it's due. He does have the experience of playing in big occasions. I know he doesn't always rise to those occasions, but he does know what it's like to play in big football matches. And yeah, I suspect he'll get the nod, but Nkunku's got that X factor, which I don't think Sterling really does have. Nkunku can just make things happen out of nothing. I know he's not really played that much this season. He's still finding his feet and whatnot. It's definitely a good option to have from the bench. But yeah, that for me is the only decision to be made because Jackson and Palmer pick themselves, as does Conor Gallagher. So yeah, that's the only choice really.
For me, I put Nkunku on the bench just because he hasn't been starting games. The team aren't used to playing him. And actually, I think especially when we've been down, and Nkunku's come on and made a great impact. I remember the Wolves away fixture and Liverpool away. Nkunku come on, done very, very well. It's a shame Chukwuemeka's not fit as well because I would have loved to have seen him come off the bench. I think they've got a great link up between the two of them. And I still rate Chukwuemeka as highly as Cole Palmer. I mean, that's how good I think he is. But yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. The only thing I would say though is, I remember the last episode of 3 Points we spoke about having Jackson instead of Sterling or someone else on the left so that you can get the cover defensively. So if you're playing Nkunku there, I don't think he's tracking back as much as Jackson. I think you're almost forced to play him right up top and maybe interchanging with Cole Palmer or something flexible in that sense, but I wouldn't have him on the left. But yeah, it's pretty obvious that, we've got a lot of good players finally getting into form and looking better than they've looked all season. So if you ask me, I go into this game with a lot of confidence. And Chelsea, have a lot of things to be confident about. But the question is, do fans like what we're confident about? The fact that we beat Man United to Sam Jewell as well. Now, if nobody knows who Sam Jewell is, he was the head of recruitment at Brighton. And really, it's not a Chelsea signing. It's more of a Blue Co signing in that sense, because he's not going to be the transfers of one club. He's going to be in charge of the whole multi-club model and how each team signs players. So right now we only have Chelsea and Strasbourg, but if we do sign other teams, which is very likely, then Sam Jewell will be the person that deals with the recruitment for each of those teams. What do you think about this, guys? And it's another signing from Brighton, but actually seems like a good one, I have to say.
Mate, I agree. I think it's a good signing in terms of, he's very well respected. I think the reason why people aren't liking it is because optically being seen to go back to Brighton again when we've taken so much from them over the last 18 months, I think maybe that, annoys people. But if you just boil it down to, is this guy good at his job? What's his track record like? Can he step up into this role? Then I think absolutely. We know that Chelsea are increasingly trying to tap into the South American market. Sam Jewell has got an exceptional record there. He was instrumental in bringing Moises Caicedo over. He was instrumental in bringing over Alexis McAllister. He scouted Enciso, the Paraguayan kid, Evan Ferguson, Matoma, Dingra, the Ivory Coast winger, that's doing really well at the moment. Estupian was another one he discovered. I think he scouted Victor Gyökeres as well, who's doing very well at the moment. So this guy's got a good eye for talent. And as I was saying, Chelsea are increasingly looking to tap into that South American market. This guy's got good knowledge of it. I was doing some research on him. In lockdown, he learned Spanish so that he could communicate better when trying to sign these South American talents. So look, he's going to be part of a global scouting thing, global sort of recruitment thing. Obviously, as you said, it's just Strasbourg and Chelsea at the moment, but hopefully that will expand the South American club, a Portuguese club, or whatever it might be. Look, ultimately for me, I don't care where you come from. If you're good at what you do, come on in. And that's how it should be. Like, if your deemed good enough and you've proven yourself, which he has, then you deserve the opportunity. And until he proves us otherwise, he deserves to be supported. But yeah, I think this is a smart decision. I think it's a good hire. And I think we can look forward to seeing some good work from him. But it'll probably take a year or two to fully judge what he starts doing. But for me, on the face of it, I think it's a good appointment, a smart appointment from the club.
Yeah, you can almost get behind it a little bit more because he's got a better CV than perhaps some of the others that we've brought in, just because, we thought they'd be good. And, I think obviously what the owners did when they brought Graham Potter is they appointed obviously everyone else from the backroom staff because they just worked with Graham Potter and they thought, yeah, that will probably do. You can bring a team that worked together at another club into Chelsea and then they'll, continue on and crack on. But I think we all saw that that's not how easy it is, and a lot of us kind of question the sporting directors down the line as well. So we've not been that secure with how people are running Chelsea behind the scenes, how decisions are being made, etc. But if this is someone that sparks interest, obviously Man United are trying to run their club better from here on. Now they've seen this guy as someone that can help them do that, then obviously there is something to want in Sam Jewell. So yeah, I think it could be interesting. Again, I think you can only judge when he comes and starts making those decisions. I think we can all say that though we've been excited by recruitment in recent couple years, it's not necessarily turned out to be as successful in the quick sort of short term as we might have liked. There's a lot of players that we look at that we think, yeah, what if? But if he can be someone that brings in players that will make an impact, from the bounce, that would also be much welcome. But yeah, I like to think that the owners or those that are making the decisions with people like this have a bit more sense to it and aren't making decisions just because, or so we'll see. Obviously, we'll see when he comes.
Yeah,
He's not due to start until November anyway, so it's a bit of a wait.
He's on gardening leave right now.
Yeah,
is that right? That's fair enough. I mean, yeah, ultimately it's a good signing, but I think it's your time will tell. People get sick and tired of me saying it, but I mean that's what the signings are. I mean, they're signings for the future. Even the sporting directors and everyone involved in recruitment, you can't really judge them until you see the players they've signed and how they've performed. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. But wishing Sam Jewell all the best and welcome to Chelsea. Now, before we move on to the next segment of this video, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Match Bingo. Now, guys, if you haven't heard of Match Bingo, you can probably already guess it's bingo with a twist. So rather than playing with numbers 10, 5, 7, you would play with in-game moments. So goals, cards, and offsides. You scratch off your lines. The more lines you scratch off, the more money you win. Guys, this is a really good game as well if you are worried about maybe putting a little bit too much money in. Playing responsibly isn't actually a problem because games are capped at £2, okay? But you can still win up to 175. So what I do, I say click the link down below, check it out. Please use our link. It does let them know that the channel are helping, and it obviously helps the channel as well. And let me know how you guys get on. It's always interesting to see how you guys do in the comments section as well. Download Match Bingo and let me know how it goes. But yeah, just going to our last point, guys. This is a little bit of a vague one, I suppose, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the cup final. But Pochettino, still a massive split. And I mean, Charlie, we were talking about it before as well. I mean, you were saying even if we win the cup, there's still going to be people that want him out. What more do you want from this Chelsea side? You know, we've got young players. We win a trophy. Why is that still not good enough?
Look, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Look, I think it would be naive to, you know, flip flop from one decision to another based on the last 3 games. The reality of the situation is we are 10th in the Premier League still. Yes, we've got this final. Yes, we're still in the FA Cup, but we're in fine margins here. We could end up with 2 trophies, or we could end up with 0 and no European football either. So, like, I think, yes, the last 3 games have certainly been a positive and have certainly shown that, you know, he can adjust if needed. We just haven't seen it on anywhere near enough occasions. But, you know, I think for me, on a club perspective, if we win the trophy, he's here next season. I really think it's that simple. For me, the only way that he's not here next season is if we win nothing and we don't qualify for Europe at all. That, for me, I think would be a parting of the ways. I know this is a young squad and it's still developing, but this squad is good enough to absolute bare minimum be Conference League. So to miss out on Europe altogether and win nothing would be a shambles. And I think it, you know, unfortunately, you can't make even the staunchest of Pochettino defenders or the staunchest of fans that, you know, think we can't keep changing managers all the time. I find it very difficult to make a case for him to stay if we didn't qualify for Europe and won nothing. So that for me is the only way he doesn't stay. Look, winning the trophy, winning the Carabao Cup on Sunday would certainly help his cause a lot. But I think for whatever reason, some people just don't like him, and you know, he could win both trophies, and you know, people would still not want him here. So yeah, look, I think it's difficult, but certainly for me, the only way to win the fan base over is keep winning, you know, because then even people that don't like him can't complain because he's winning, and that's all you want from your football team, is to win. So yeah, look, we're still in a precarious position. Yes, the last 3 results have made us feel a bit more confident, but you can't hide away from the reality that, as I said, we're 10th. Look, for me, cup final on Sunday, yeah, unbelievable if we win. But the most important thing, as you touched on beforehand, is that we don't turn up and just get rolled over and embarrass ourselves. If we go there, we give a good account of ourselves, we give it our all, we don't give up, and we just come up short. You can accept that. You know, you can accept it. So for me, I need to see more from him. I haven't changed my mind yet or been convinced otherwise that, you know, there shouldn't potentially be a change at the end of the season. But if we can qualify for Europe and pick up 1 trophy, then for me, given the circumstances of the season, he would deserve another chance to go again next year.
Do you feel the same way, Nina?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the points made, to be fair. And I think because we have seen what these players can now do against the top teams, and we see that they do actually have enough quality to go toe-to-toe with the top teams, then, you know, if this doesn't continue and results start going south again, then you do have to look at the manager and think that he's perhaps mismanaging them and he's perhaps not getting the best out of them, because, you know, we look back and we think this squad just shouldn't be 11th or 10th throughout the season. You know, we should at least be pushing for the bare minimum of the top European spots, because we do have a good squad. And I get that it's not been easy, we've had injuries, and I do cut a lot of slack for Pochettino, but you know, I almost look at Man United though, because they obviously won the Carabao Cup within their first season with Ten Hag, and then obviously went on with a really good finish in top 4. And now look at them this season. You know, people had them challenging and they are nowhere near. Yes, they've somehow grinded out results to get in and out near top 6, but you know, you look at their goal difference, you look at their performances, and it hasn't been good. So if you use reverse psychology, it's almost like if we do have that and we do qualify for Europe this year, and you know, we do win the Carabao Cup and it's all red roses, it doesn't mean that next season we're just going to kick on and it's all going to be okay. But I get that it does give you like a pass, or it does give you like a free pass to go into next season, because you have had a good first season at Chelsea. But yeah, I think what Charlie says about performances is crucial, because that tells you that we are headed in the right direction and that the manager is doing something right with the squad. So it wouldn't be fair to just take that away from him. But then what if, guys, like our performances do improve and, you know, we are playing better, we do win the Carabao Cup, but we don't finish anywhere near like top 8 or something, then would you still back him to go?
Oh, we'd still be in Europe anyway if we win in the Carabao Cup. It would be
but would you be happy with like an 8th or 9th place finish?
What, with the Carabao Cup?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Happy. I don't know if happy is the right word, but
I mean,
content,
aren't you? You
but
won a
if
trophy,
you said
you're in Europe. I mean, that's what we
Yeah.
wanted.
But ultimately the remit would have been this season some form of European football and try and win a trophy. So if we do that, then then how can you complain that much? Like, this is not the Chelsea we're used to. This is a different Chelsea.
Yeah.
So like, we have to build ourselves back up again. We have to focus on becoming a top 4, top 6 team again before going on to trying to establish ourselves as a Premier League winning side. So yeah, look, obviously it's not where you want to be, but it's a massive improvement upon last season. And all you want to do is, I know that's a low bar, but all you want to do is improve year on year. So this would be an improvement. And I can't really say that. How can you be disappointed with an improvement? Like, if you win a trophy, how can you be disappointed with a season? Obviously, if you went down and won a trophy, that's a bit different. But like, if you win a trophy and you qualify for Europe, given the circumstances we've been in, the turmoil the club's been in over the last 18 months to 2 years, you always want more, but I don't see how you could put it down as a disappointment.
We're still in the FA Cup, guys, as well.
Well, exactly. We beat Leeds on Wednesday, and it's a quarter-final, and it's a one game. So, yeah.
Let me ask you this, Nina. Let me ask you this. So would you rather Chelsea win the Carabao Cup and then go on a horrific run, right? We don't finish the season off well in the league, or we lose the cup final and we qualify through the league into Europe?
That is a horrible question. How could you ask me that?
Well, mate, it's easy. Just trophies all day. That's what you play football for, to win.
I would never ever go into a final and say I want to lose this. And it's bizarre because I think there's fans out there that genuinely want Chelsea to lose because they think that's Pochettino gone because they hate him that much. But I would never go into a final and think I'd rather lose this. Of course, I want that cup on Sunday. But yeah, no, look, don't get me wrong, I'm happy with that. I just almost don't want to buy into this idea that, it's all going to be okay and kickstart if we do win the Carabao Cup. And obviously that's a great stepping stone. But again, you can't, I feel like even if we do and we are guaranteed some European football, people are still not going to back Pochettino until we go on next season to kick on and do better in the league, because I think that's where the real trouble is, isn't it? Like Charlie has said, for the longest time, we've been a cup team for the last few years, and we've been nowhere near challenging for a title. And I think, that's something that we should be trying to do in the next few years, or be in and around that. And I just think that, obviously it's far to say, and I'm someone that will obviously give Pochettino time if he proves that, he can do bits with the squad, but I want us to do well in the league as well. That's just the point I'm making, that it's great to go and get European football, but for me, I want to see us do well in the league and actually look competitive and, win games week in, week out, because that is really what the goal is moving forward. Because cup is absolutely great, it's amazing, but the league is where we've really, really struggled in recent time, and for me that's just so important. So I wouldn't be satisfied with like a 9th place finish, really. I mean, I would be, but it's just, do you know what I mean? I think it's still like
a weird one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, as a Chelsea fan, to say we take 9th as long as we're in the Carabao, our standards have dropped. Like, that's obvious. And people say that, you're making the club worse because you accept this. It's a load of rubbish. I'm used to this. That's
being realistic, though, isn't it? No one's accepting it. It's just, you've got to be realistic. There's no point trying to think that Chelsea, this team, is capable of hitting the standards that have been set over the last 20 years. The standards will always be the same at Chelsea, but people just are either too stupid to realise or refusing to accept that we're not in a position right now to hit the standards that have been set. And the idea is to get back to hitting those standards. And winning on Sunday would be a small step in the right direction to getting back to the standards we've set over the last 20 years.
Yeah. I've just got one question each for both of you, and then we'll wrap it up there. The first question, guys, is your score predictions going into Sunday. The second question is, are you Poch in or are you Poch out?
Score prediction Sunday. Mate, I'll be honest, mate. I think it goes a distance again. I think it'll go to penalties again. So I'm going to say a Chelsea win on penalties, but that's more out of
No penalties.
that's more
That
out of
coming from
hope
what, a 0-0
rather than
or?
expectation. I'll go for a win on penalties, but it's
Okay.
it's really tough to call this one.
Of course it is. Cup final, mate. Anything can happen. What about Poch then? I think you're similar to me, Charlie, aren't you? You want to defend him, but I think, yeah, if we don't qualify for Europe at all,
I need to see more. Like I'm not like 100% in, but I'm not 100% out either. It's probably like a sort of a 60-40 in terms of
you're 100% on the
change.
fence.
Yeah, it's on the fence basically in terms of making a change. But like obviously, like I need to see more from him because right now it's hard to make a case for him to say we should absolutely stay next season. Like I need to see a strong second half of the season before I can 100% make up my mind on it. But yeah, he deserves the rest of the season to try and prove us wrong. But right now, I'd be edging more towards we should be looking at a change at this point in time.
Okay, I was going to say I almost echoed that before you said that you back the change right now.
No, I don't back the change right now.
What do you mean then?
I need to see. Basically, what I mean is I need to see more from him, and if I don't see that in the second half of the season, then it's probably right to make 100%. A change at the end of the season. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I echo that. I'm also Poching, but it's a conditional Poching. So there are criteria that need to be met. It's not unconditional. And for the final, I hate score predictions because I'm never good at them and I never get them right. But I'm going to say, well, I said 2-1 yesterday, and I'm going to stick to that. I don't think it's going to be a draw this time round. I don't think it gets the penalties. I think the game's done in 90. And I think that it's going to be tight. I back that Chelsea, if we can score first, it puts the game in a much different perspective. We get to be in control. If Poch is planning on bringing in Nkunku off the bench, maybe then that means that, we can potentially see another goal. But I think that Pochettino might start Nkunku because he's just been saving him for this final. He looks at him and he thinks he's probably our best player. Or he should have been our best player when he was brought in. Obviously, Cole Palmer's taken that title, but yeah, I'm going to back us. I'm not going to Wembley just thinking we're going to lose. So I'm going to give us the 2-1, and I think we beat Liverpool.
I like it. I think it's going to extra time. I just think the history of this fixture says that if Chelsea are up,
but the history of fixture says that we drew against Liverpool in the league as well when we didn't. So
that's true. But I think as long as our players are up for it, it's going to be competitive, right? We know Liverpool are up for it. And we know that Klopp is going to set them up well, but we don't know if Pochettino is going to do that with us, and we don't know how the players are going to perform under pressure. Ultimately, I'm in agreement, but I am 100% Pochettino, definitely. I think you support the manager till you don't. That's the way I look at it. So that's my situation with Poch. I think he can turn it around. I think. Also, why are you laughing, Nina?
Yeah, I'm Poching until I'm Poch out.
Well,
Alex Harris, 2024, amazing.
It's true, everyone's going, if we do this, if we do that, you Poch in and you Poch out. You got to make a choice, people. So that's the way I'm looking at it. I think he can turn it around. I don't think that he's necessarily a title-winning manager. I never said that he was the elite of the elite, but I think right now where we are, he's the perfect manager to bring us back up into European football and then hopefully progress into Champions League, and then give the man a chance. And if he can't do what people want him to do at that point, then it's fair to make a change. But up till then, we've got to be a little more realistic and patient as well. But listen, guys, we're going to round it out there. If you have been watching for the full 39 minutes, then thank you very much. We appreciate your time. And as always, another episode of 3 Points Perspective on fire, guys. So thank you, Nina. Thank you, Charlie, as well. Listen, guys, if you agree or disagree with anything myself, Nina, or Charlie have said in the video, let us know in the comments. And if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. It helps a lot. But apart from that, guys, we'll see you after the cup final. All the best.
Going to Wembley. Whatever will
there
be,
you go.
will be.
Sarah, up the Chelsea.